I didn't expect to outlive them, but I did. And that changes you. Not suddenly, like a bolt of lightning, but slowly, like dust settling over everything you once thought was solid. By the time I was 75, I had lost 5 of my closest friends. Not in car crashes. Not suddenly, but slowly, one by one. Through illness, through age, through time. And every single one of them, in the final days of their lives, spoke to me. Sometimes directly, sometimes with a trembling voice, sometimes through long, quiet pauses that said more than words ever could. This isn't a story about death. It's about what's left unsaid. It's about regret. Because when people reach the edge of life, they don't talk about money. They don't talk about success. They talk about what they didn't do, who they didn't call, what they wish they had said sooner. And if you listen closely, you'll realize something. You don't have to wait for the end to make peace. You still have time. They didn't. So here are the first 3 regrets I witnessed from men I loved, respected, laughed with. These changed me. Maybe they'll change you too. Small blue diamond regret number 1. I should have said sorry first. Henry was the strongest man I knew. A firefighter. Barrel-chested, sharp-witted, the kind of guy who could break up a bar fight with a look. We were friends since high school. In our late 60s, he had a falling out with his only son. A business deal gone sour. Money, pride, the usual poison. They stopped talking. One Thanksgiving, I asked him, "You gonna call Daniel?" He grunted. When he apologizes. That line became his wall. For years. Even when he got sick, lung cancer, stage 3, he never picked up the phone. Until the very end. I visited him 3 days before he passed. He was thinner, softer, quiet. He turned to me and whispered. I kept waiting for him to make it right. I should have just called. I should have said sorry first. Even if I wasn't wrong. I didn't say anything. Because there was nothing to say. Daniel came 2 days later. He held his father's hand. Henry couldn't speak anymore. But he cried. Regret isn't about blame. It's about wasted time. If you're holding a grudge, let it go. The longer you wait to reach out, the harder it gets. And eventually, you run out of eventually. Small blue diamond regret number 2. I worked through the best years of my life. Tom was a banker. Not flashy. Not greedy. Just dependable. Clock in, clock out. Provide for the family type of man. He built a house. Put 3 kids through college. Never missed a mortgage payment. And never took a real vacation. Every summer, his wife would ask to go somewhere. Italy. The coast. Anywhere. He'd say, next year. Next year became retirement. Then arthritis. Then travel became harder. When I visited him in hospice, his wife showed me a photo album. Most of it was birthdays, graduations, moments that looked full, but missed something. Later that day, Tom looked at me and said, I was always waiting for the right time to enjoy my life. But the right time never came. I asked him what he wished he'd done. He said, I wish I danced more. Spent money on stupid things. Laughed instead of checking emails. He wasn't bitter. Just tired. Tired of saving joy for later. If you're telling yourself, I'll enjoy myself once I've earned it, ask yourself this. What if the earning never ends? Don't wait until your body betrays you to realize your time was always now. Small blue diamond regret number 3. I never told her I loved her. Marcus was a poet trapped in a mechanic's body. Rough hands, greasy clothes, but when he spoke about feelings, it felt like music. We met in our 30s, and every now and then, he'd talk about Clara, a woman he knew before his wife, a girl from his youth. They were close, almost something more. But life happened. Jobs. Relocations. She moved. He stayed. They both married. But he never let go of the feeling. He'd say, she was the one who saw me, not who I pretended to be. I once asked him, did you ever tell her? He laughed. Nah. What would be the point? Years passed. He lost his wife. Clara's husband died too. They reconnected, briefly. But it was formal. Distant. Like a song played too late in the night. 2 weeks before Marcus passed, we sat outside under a fading sunset. He said, I lived a good life. But I always wonder, what would have happened if I told her? He paused, then added, I didn't need her to say it back. I just wanted her to know. There are some things that aren't meant to be fulfilled. Some stories don't need endings. But they do deserve honesty. If there's someone you once loved and never told, don't wait for the right moment. That moment may have already passed, but maybe, just maybe, it hasn't. Say it. Not for them. For you. I remember sitting in a hospital room with no beeping machines, no sounds of nurses, no charts. Just silence, and the slow breath of a man who once laughed louder than anyone I knew. He didn't ask for anything. He didn't even look at me at first. He just said, "I did everything right. And still, I feel empty." That's when I realized something most people never learn in time. You can do everything right and still get life wrong. Here are the final regrets I heard from the people I loved most. The hardest ones, the most honest ones, and the ones I still carry with me. Small blue diamond regret number 4. I pretended to be someone I'm not for too long. This one came from Aaron. He was always put together. Button-down shirts, firm handshake, big house. The kind of man people respected, admired, even envied. But what they didn't know, what I didn't know for decades, was that Aaron was playing a role. Every single day. He had grown up in a strict home. Emotions weren't shared. Success was expected. He became what everyone wanted him to be, and he was good at it. He had the job, the family, the status, but not the freedom. I was always afraid, he told me, one night when I visited him after his diagnosis. Afraid that if I showed people who I really was, they'd leave. He never told jokes he thought were funny. Never listened to music he really loved. Never cried at movies. Never said he was afraid. He just wore a mask. Until the end. In his final days, he finally started talking like himself. Cursing more. Laughing differently. Asking real questions. He said, "The saddest thing is, I think my kids never got to know the real me." And then he said the line that shook me. "I was a stranger in my own life." If you're hiding who you are, even a little, ask yourself why. And ask yourself how long you're willing to keep hiding. Because the longer you pretend, the harder it is to find your way back. Small blue diamond regret number 5. I never made peace with my father. George was the last one. The last of our group to go. He was the quiet one. Kind. Always helping. Never angry. But behind that calm was something else. A wound that never closed. His father had been harsh. Cold. Never abusive, but distant in a way that cuts deeper. Never said, "I'm proud of you." Never hugged him after games. Never called. George never talked about it. Until the end. I was holding his hand. His breath was shallow. And he whispered. I thought I could move on without forgiving him. But it followed me. All my life. I asked him, "Did you ever try to talk to him?" He shook his head. I kept waiting for him to reach out. But he died before I could say what I needed to say. George didn't need his father to apologize. He just needed him to listen. But he never got that. And so he carried the silence like a weight. Through every job, every relationship, every sleepless night. Forgiveness doesn't always need 2 people. Sometimes it just needs one person brave enough to start. Don't wait to make peace. Not for them. For you. Small blue diamond regret number 6. I thought I had more time. That one came from all of them. In different words, but the same meaning. Time. The thing we think we have in abundance until we don't. Some said it with a sigh. Others with tears. Some couldn't say it at all. You just saw it in their eyes. I thought I'd call her next week. I was going to fix it after the holidays. I figured I had one more summer. But time isn't a promise. It's a privilege. I watched men who had plans, real, beautiful, simple plans, fade before they could take one more step toward them. One wanted to restore an old car with his grandson. One wanted to write a letter to his first wife. One wanted to take his wife back to the lake where they first kissed. They never got the chance. Because they thought they had more time. Don't wait to live. Don't wait to forgive. Don't wait to call. If it matters, do it. Now. Sparkles the truth I've learned from all their goodbyes. I've made mistakes too. I've held grudges. Worked too much. Said maybe later when I should have said right now. But I had one thing my friends didn't. Time to change. Time to listen. And now, I'm passing their truths on to you. Because you're not too late. Because you still can. So before you scroll away, ask yourself, who do you need to call? What part of yourself have you been hiding? What joy have you been delaying? What truth have you swallowed too long? You don't need a deathbed to wake up. You just need a reason. Let this be it.